The Fulton County District Attorney will not have to testify in the divorce case of fellow attorney Nathan Wade, or at least not yet. Fani Willis was subpoenaed to testify in the case. Today's short hearing was to decide whether or not she must comply. But the judge has stayed the decision until he hears more information. Willis hired Wade to be on her team for the state's case against former President Trump. Some of the co-defendants in the case say he was hired because of an alleged improper relationship. For more, let's bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion from Marietta, Georgia. Nikole, great to have you. So what happened inside the courtroom today that led the judge to ordering a stay?
Well, basically, this just came down to arguments between the counsels for Nathan Wade, who is a special prosecutor that's involved in the 2020 election interference case, between his attorneys and also the attorneys for Wade's wife, as well as the attorneys for District Attorney Fani Willis. You know, this all comes down to whether or not District Attorney Fani Willis has any unique information that she might be able to share that could impact, for instance, in terms of these divorce proceedings, how the marital assets should be split up between Nathan Wade and his wife. So what Nathan Wade's wife's attorneys are arguing is that they believe that Fani Willis has unique information, particularly if she is involved in this improper relationship, and they believe that that is information that is important to know in terms of how to ultimately determine who gets what in this divorce. But in the case of Fani Willis and her attorney, they basically argued that District Attorney Fani Willis doesn't really have any new information, that she can't really shed any light on the situation with respect to the divorce, since both parties, both Nathan Wade and his wife, have acknowledged that their relationship is irretrievably broken. So what the judge in this case said is that he needs more information. He believes that the parties in this case do need to be deposed, but he believes that it's important to hear from Nathan Wade, the special prosecutor, first before deciding whether or not Fani Willis should ultimately testify.
Okay, Nikole, that's all about this divorce case that has a great deal of national attention. Let's talk about why it has national attention. Of course, Fani Willis is the prosecutor in this Georgia case. But talk to us about those who argue that somehow this relationship could have an impact on the Trump case. What are those arguments? Why are we inside a courtroom of a divorce case?
Yeah, I mean, good point, obviously, because it's a very personal matter. But this all burst out into the open with a filing earlier this month by one of the co-defendants in the election interference case, who alleged that he and his attorney alleged that they believe that District Attorney Fani Willis and Nathan Wade are engaged in this improper relationship. This is Michael Roman. He's a former Trump campaign operative. He's trying to get the charges against him dismissed. He faces 7 felony counts. And so because of what he and his attorney believe is this improper relationship, they believe that that potentially taints the case. So they believe that the charges against him should be dismissed and that Willis and Wade should be removed from this case. So that's how this all burst out into the open. The issue, though, with that particular filing is that they didn't have any proof or solid evidence. And so since then, in light of these divorce proceedings between Nathan Wade and his wife, we have seen at least one filing now that has these bank records of Nathan Wade's that show that he purchased airline tickets allegedly for himself and for Fani Willis, because her name is on some of his credit card statements. And so part of this hearing today was also to determine whether more evidence from those divorce proceedings should be unsealed. And ultimately, that is what a judge decided. In fact, those documents were released just a short time ago, and we are going through them. But I do want you to take a quick listen to the attorney for Nathan Wade's wife. I asked her why she wants to hear from District Attorney Fani Willis. Take a listen.
I have reason to believe that there is a relationship going on, or else I wouldn't be pursuing this line of discovery. That would be inappropriate.
So So as you heard there, she acknowledges that she believes that there could be some type of improper relationship. That is why she wants to hear from the district attorney, and she says that her position really has nothing to do with this. She wants her to be deposed in her personal capacity to speak to whether or not she has had this improper relationship. So again, they can decide how to deal with the divorce proceedings. But again, separate from that, there are legally some concerns about whether this could potentially be a conflict of interest, whether there was any improper business going on or county funds potentially being used improperly. Because again, this is taxpayer money that is going into the district attorney's office, that is being paid out to Wade, and that if in turn he allegedly is using this money on trips that the two are taking together, which are what some of these filings allege, then that does raise some concerns in terms of some of these co-defendants who are involved in this Trump election interference case. So again, there's a lot of different circles and webs and threads within this story, but the bottom line is that it matters simply because if there is any alleged impropriety, then potentially that could ultimately impact the Trump case.
All right. Nikole Killion is always just very professionally simplifying these long threads. Thank you so much, Nikole.